Crazy People Will One Day Rule the World by word artist Sully Breaks. And the message in here is just so deep. You know, what is your definition of crazy? Is crazy not conforming to society's rules, or conforming to society's rules, working hard all your life, and ending up in a rocking chair at 55 or 60 years old, not being able to do anything, and then you turn around and realize you haven't really done anything with your life? What's really crazier? Here we go. Sully Breaks. Crazy people will one day rule the world.
How would you feel if I told you that crazy people would one day rule the world? I mean, what did Instagram see that Kodak didn't? Because Kodak at its peak had about 140,000 employees, when Instagram, with only 13, recently sold for about $1 billion. You know what's funny? The scientists at Kodak actually helped develop the digital camera that would eventually take them out of business. So why, when that was developing in potential, was the company stuck still developing pictures? Something that you created ends up becoming one of your biggest opponents. Man, looking back through the timeline, that must have been one hell of a Kodak moment. HMV, one of the world's leaders in its field at its peak, recently faced bankruptcy. And what do you expect? I mean, I don't condone piracy, but one phone call to my friend Jesse, and for about £10 in under 6 hours, I could probably have the whole of HMV on the USB. I mean, it's 2013. Are you realistically still trying to sell CDs? See what these people have in common? None of them were crazy enough to believe that they could see the future. Because us logical people, we become stuck in our ways, reluctant to change, function the same when there's nothing to gain. Forgetting that all skyscrapers were once just slabs of stone. Google was once just a scrap of code. Actually, when you think about it from a perspective that's logical, the only true path to your dreams is to perceive what others deemed impossible. Because the Wright brothers believed that humans could fly, which in 1905 would have sounded ludicrous to educated individuals like you and I. Standing on the corner with a sign saying the end is near. I can bet you right now that it's not too far-fetched. That there's a kid in Shoreditch in an apartment, surrounded by comic books depicting Clark Kent, a box of cereal at arm's length, creating some kind of app that would do things that most of us have only ever seen on Star Trek. What's the difference between the way people will see him and a man that's barely clean on the park bench, mumbling to himself in the past tense? People will call both of them crazy because they see what others don't. But aren't you sick of looking at new opportunities when you could be exploring them? Don't you keep on getting that? I wish I'd thought of that feeling. I mean, why be stuck in the past when you can hop in the DeLorean? Because madmen will one day rule the world. Because they have visions and intuitions. Rather than persistence and traditions, decisions than inhibitions dictated by intermissions, still waiting to be commissioned. Every day, a new idea.
I love that escalator. I've been there many times. It is a fun escalator to
ride. That's your
ride.
opportunity to do what Angelina and Brad did, and adopt as many as possible. Everything that you saw in Star Wars and labeled insanity is now a potential reality. Well, except for the lightsaber. But I do have this one idea of a broom handle and a laser. Any investors watching, perhaps we can discuss that later. But all I'm saying is, don't be afraid to shoot for the stars, even if people call you crazy. Because I ain't never seen anyone survive a war with their gun on safety. Peace.
That really gives you something to think about. Yeah. Working the typical job life for 40 years, only being able to take 1 or 2 vacations a year if you're lucky. And that's not even the way most people survive through their working life in this day and age. It's very rare to find somebody at the same job for 30 or 40 years. So where does the pension plan come in? You know, there's so many variables now. So who's really crazier? The one that steps out and takes the risks, or the one that just tries to conform to society standards? Think about it. Think hard. Watch this video many, many times. Take care.